Karma Mini.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, it has been told human life is meant to attain liberation. But liberation from what? What is binding us here? We don't see any handcuffs, any fetters. So the thing which is binding us here in this world are the three modes of nature, called the three gunas. What are these three powerful modes? Let us explore in this chapter 14th of the Bhagavad Gita, three modes of material nature. This session is dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, our spiritual master and the founder and acharya of the worldwide Hare Krishna movement. Let's see verse number 1. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Param Bhuyah Pravakshyami Jnananam Jnanamuttamam Yajgyatva Munayas Sarve Param Siddhim Ito Gatah. The blessed Lord said, "Again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained to supreme perfection." Param Siddhim Ito Gataha. Siddhi means perfection. Perfection of human life does not entail getting a lot of money, a very big house, or very attractive life partners, etc. Because we have seen enough people, those who have attained all these things, still find their lives imperfect. So these are not perfections but hallucinations of perfection. The Vedas explain, and it is the realization of the liberated personalities, when we understand I am not the body but spirit soul, completely different from this bag which is made up of three dhatus, kaf, pit and vat. Then that is the beginning of perfection of human form of life. Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit soul. And this stage is called Brahma Bhuta stage. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. Then a person is always jolly. This is the symptom. So any person who is not always jolly, that person is not liberated. So this is first step of perfection. Then perfection increases to second realization, which is called Paramatma. Realizing, witnessing the presence of Supreme Lord in our heart, who is present in every atom in this universe. And then the realization actually becomes perfect when one realizes the source of the spiritual energy which is all pervading, who is the source of Paramatma present in the heart, the original form of God. That is Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is called Bhagavan realization. Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan, the Absolute Truth, is known in these three different phases. So by knowing this knowledge, Param Siddhim, Siddhi means perfection, one can attain to topmost perfection. So this is the knowledge which Lord Krishna has been explaining so far in Bhagavad Gita, but it has been presented here in a more effective manner. Idam jnanam upashritya mama sadharmyamagatah sargepi nopajayante pralaye navyatanti cha. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature, which is like my own nature. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation, not disturbed at the time of dissolution. So the happiness or distress that we experience in this life depends upon the nature of body we have acquired. Some bodies by nature are very weak, are diseased. The body of a bear, feels very hot even though he is living in the poles. That is why he dives deep into water to get relief from the heat. But we will freeze as we enter the polar region. So our happiness and distress depends upon the nature of body we have acquired. Now, one should think, what is the most perfect body which should be acquired, which does not face distress at all? Is it possible to have such body? Yes. That body belongs to Lord Krishna. Dehi deha vibhedoyam neshware vidyate kvachit. There is no difference between body and soul of Krishna. So there is no birth, death, old age, disease. And here Krishna is telling, Mama sadharmyam agataha. Sadharmyam means one also attains Krishna's nature. Dharma also means nature. So Krishna's nature is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. So we also become very blissful. We become eternal. We are eternal. We realize our eternal aspect. And we become full of knowledge. Mama yonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dadhamyaham sambhava sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata. So Lord Krishna now is explaining how the living entity gets entangled technically in this material world and what are the means of liberation. So what is this material world? The big scientists are perplexed. Lord Krishna explains here. The total material substance called Brahm is the source of birth, and it is that Brahm that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharat. Mama yonir mahad brahma. So the Vedas explain there are two portions in this entire existence. One is called Ekpad Vibhuti, or 25% of the existence. Another is Tripad Vibhuti, which consists of 75% of existence. Tripad Vibhuti is called the spiritual world, which forms the majority. And most of the living entities live in the spiritual world, where there is no embarrassment of birth, death, old age and disease. But Ekpad Vibhuti is meant for the living entities who want to compete with God, who want to become God. In spiritual world, the philosophy is people are very, very humble. They want to become servant of God. Everyone wants to serve other living entity. So how beautiful society would be if everyone is willing to serve the other person. But here we want to enjoy the services of other people. What to speak of general people? This phenomenon occurs in our families also. If there is any disagreement, then there is separation even among the family members. There are fights and arguments. Because we want to enjoy other service here. Everything should be for my satisfaction. In spiritual world, everything should be for Krishna's satisfaction and for satisfaction of Krishna's devotees. So those who want to become like God, those who think everyone should serve me, they are given chance to become God in this material world, which is called Ekapad Vibhuti, material energy. And what is this material energy? It is nothing but transformation of spiritual energy. Krishna is absolute truth. Satchidananda Ghana Sarveshwareshwaro Dadhatu. Concentrated Satchidananda. And the energy which is emanating from Krishna is also Satchidananda. But this energy gets transformed into material energy to fulfill our desires of becoming Lord. So just like sand castles are created by children, similarly so many forms are created by living entities for their own satisfaction. That is called material world. So the original material energy, the transformation of Brahm, the spiritual energy, is called Mahat Brahm or Mahat Tattva. That is the original substance, the cosmic intelligence from which everything is later manifest. So then this entire manifestation consists of various energies, but original energy is called Mahat Tattva. Just like there is white light that is split into three lights, three primary colors, RGB, red, green and blue, and then they mix, and then on the screen we see so many varieties of manifestations. Similarly, this manifest world here is nothing but expansion and combination of this original Tattva, which is called Mahat Tattva. So Krishna is telling, Tasam Brahma Mahad Yonir. Yoni means mother, source of birth. Just like the mother gives birth to children, But mother is not actually the source of the soul, without which there is no possibility of generation and production of a body. The soul comes from father. Similarly, material nature is mother. Our bodies we see are coming out of the material ingredients. But material nature is not the cause of our birth. We are coming, Krishna tells here, Tasmin Garbham Dadami Aham. I am the seed giving father. So the souls are coming from Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of Lord Shiva, impregnates soul in this material world. And then the bodies are given by the material nature. In this way, the creation happens. Sarvayonishu Kaunteya Murtaya Sambhavanti Yaha Tasam Brahma Mahadyonir Aham Bija Pradah Pita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Sattvam rajastama iti guna prakriti sambhavah nibadnanti mahabaho dehe dehinamavyayam. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the living entity comes in contact with nature, he becomes conditioned by these modes. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam anamayam sukha sangena badhnati jnana sangena chanagha. Now Krishna starts explaining how living entities are bound up in this material world. So this Mahat Tattva consists of three modes of nature: Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And it is like having golden, silver or iron handcuffs. Person can be very happy seeing golden handcuffs. Ultimately, that is also bondage. So this golden handcuff is called Sattva Guna. How Sattva Guna binds the living entity, Lord Krishna has explained. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode develop knowledge, but they become conditioned by the concept of happiness. So the mode of goodness is purer than other modes, Rajogun and Tamogun. Those who are in this mode, Sattva Guna, they come to the platform of knowledge and they are able to get freedom from the sense. But this also binds the living entity by the concept of happiness. So usually living entities who are there on this planet, earthly planet, all the human beings, they are conducted by mode of passion. Mode of passion we will see in the next verse. Person works very hard. Sensual desires are very, very strong. And a person is half mad because when the sensual desires are very strong, person cannot think what is right and wrong, gets carried away. But when the senses are controlled, mind is controlled, person has goodness, he's having good behavior, controlled behavior, one can rise to the platform of knowledge. And when one rises to the platform of knowledge, like philosophers, poets, scientists, then a person is having experience of some happiness in this material world. They are not very much affected by the miseries. Just like by so much scientific advancement, we can counteract the onslaught of material nature. It may be very hot, but you can have some devices, some gadgets, arrangements, air conditioners, coolers, fans. We will not feel so much of heat. Similarly, it could be very dark outside, then we have light, we are not affected by that. In a similar fashion, with advancement of knowledge, we are able to counteract the material distress, either philosophically or scientifically or poetically. So then these people, because they feel happiness, the more you advance in Sattva Guna, happiness also increases. Then a person thinks, what is the need of having spiritual knowledge? I am anyway increasing my happiness in this world. So this happiness binds living entity into this material world. Other living entities who are not so happy. Why? Because they are conducted by the lower modes. And what is their situation is explained in the next verse. Rajoragatmakam vidhi trishna sanga samudbhavam tannibadhnati kaunteya karma sangena dehinam. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, one is bound to material fruitive activities. Other people who are conducted by modes of passion, as are the beings on this planet, the human beings, they work very hard and they are bound to material fruitive activities because there are so many desires in this mode of passion, so many longings, so much material attraction. This mode is represented by attraction between man and woman. The more there is attraction to the opposite gender, we can understand the more we have mode of passion within the body. And the more is mode of passion, the more would be anxiety, the more would be hard work, because then you enter into family, longing, the sensual desires are so strong. Then you enter into family because the sensual desires, longings are so strong. And then one has to satisfy the needs of the family members, and for this hard work is required. To gain the material comforts and to maintain status in the society, show off to others. In this way it leads to hard work. And a person gets entangled by the fruits of the activity, fruits of the hard work. It could be material comforts, it could be name, fame, recognition we have earned in society. To earn that, maintain that, one has to work very, very hard, and this person always remains in anxiety. This is the situation of mode of passion. Then, mode of ignorance, what is their state? Tamastvajnanatam vidhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramadalasya nidrabhis tannibadhnati bharata. O son of Bharat, the mode of ignorance causes the delusion of all living entities. The result of this mode is madness, indolence and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. The mode of ignorance causes madness, delusion. So these people sleep a lot, sleeping more than 7 or 8 hours. That means mode of ignorance. Or resorting to various kinds of intoxicants. They want to forget the material reality, the material world. So those people who want to escape the truth of this material world, they are considered to be in mode of ignorance. So just like a rabbit is there, when it is attacked by lion, rabbit closes its eyes and feels happy lion is gone. Actually, lion is not gone. But rabbit wants to escape the harsh reality that it is going to die very soon. In a similar fashion, those people in the mode of ignorance spend a lot of time sleeping. Anybody who is fond very much of sleep, long sleeping hours, it means mode of ignorance, or resorting to, we will discuss all these things are very beautifully, elaborately discussed. The food items that we have, the words that we speak, the way we conduct ourselves, by this one can understand whether a person is in mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. So the mode of ignorance results in misery always, current misery and future misery also. But a person, because of hallucination, bewilderment, does not realize that one is suffering. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati raja karmani bharata jnanam avritya tu tamaha pramade sanjayatyuta. The mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions him to the fruits of action, and ignorance to madness. So if somebody is lying on a railway track and one is sleeping or under the spell of intoxicants, it is difficult to tell a person to move away. Sleeping man cannot be woken up, or intoxication, not able to understand that the train is coming, I might get crushed any moment. In this way, because of madness, they get bound and keep on suffering death, life after life. Another person sitting on the railway track is suffering, and then he's working very hard to get relief from the suffering, and somebody is giving him instruction, please move away from the railway track. but the person is not listening because he's so much engrossed to get relief. Suppose he is very thirsty, he is digging for water on the railway track or near railway track. He does not realize that this is the position of death where I am situated. Water can be found elsewhere. I need to move away from the track as soon as. But if one is very much engrossed in digging, he will not listen to the instructions. The more one is thirsty, the less there is possibility of him making understand, move away from the track. This is called mode of passion. When a person is having very strong sensual desires, they become half mad, they get engrossed in their work. I want to have money, I want to have recognition, I want this person in my life, I want this position in society. They are not able to rise to the platform of knowledge. So people tell, yes, follow your passion. This passion is so dangerous. And then people want peace also. So this passion is only the cause of all the anxieties that we have in our life. Simply if we come to Sattva Guna, then a person would be very, very happy. But then what is Sattva Guna? Sattva Guna means a person by virtue of knowledge has arranged very nice water for him on the track. He has made very nice canopy or tent for himself, an air-conditioned canopy, and he is living very nicely inside. He has made power arrangements also, nice gadgets, listening nice music, enjoying in his air-conditioned tent, but everything is on the railway track. He will also get crushed. Now somebody is telling, move away, and the person is not feeling any need to move away because one is comfortable. So in this way, a person who is sattvic, he gets conditioned, he does not move away from this material world, but repeatedly keeps on taking birth as scientist, as philosopher, as poet, as any intellectual. The mode of passion anyway binds one to hard work, to the fruits of the work, and the one in mode of hallucination, he is anyway in bewilderment, madness. So complete madness, half madness, or material knowledge, all these things are not able to give relief to the living entities from repeated birth and death in this material world. And even though the person in Sattva Guna is happy now, any time one can lose knowledge by contaminating Rajoguna and Tamoguna, just like the fit people also can fall sick anytime. And when a person falls to the lower modes, the life is much, much more miserable. So one should take advantage of Sattva Guna when the material nature is not disturbing much. Take help of pure devotee and then move away from the railway track, move away from repeated birth and death. So although Sattva Guna is good, it is purer than others, person is sane having knowledge, but unless a person comes in contact with a pure devotee, with this knowledge in parampara, one cannot solve the problems of repeated birth and death. In this way, the living entity is bound in this material world, either by happiness in Sattva Guna, by the fruits of activity in Rajoguna, or by madness, ignorance in Tamoguna. Rajastamascha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajas sattvam tamaschaiva tamas sattvam rajastatha. Sometimes the mode of passion becomes prominent, defeating the mode of goodness, O son of Bharat, and sometimes the mode of goodness defeats passion. And at other times, the mode of ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. So we can see sometimes we are feeling very peaceful, very happy, and we have knowledge, we are seeking knowledge. Sometimes we have strong sensual desires, urges, I want to fulfill this, desires of the senses. We are working very hard. There is anxiety. And sometimes we are in ignorance, just like when we sleep at night, we are completely unaware of what is this material world nature, who am I, where is my body, what am I supposed to do. On waking up, complete ignorance. So sometimes there is Tamoguna dominant in our body, sometimes Rajoguna, sometimes Sattva Guna. There is always competition among the three modes. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyad vivriddham sattvamityuta. The manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Sarvadvareshu dehe asmin. There are 9 gates, dwara, in this body. Which are the gates? We have discussed before. This body is called City of Nine Gates. Eyes, 2 eyes, nostrils, ears, mouth, 7, and genitals and anus. So in this way, through 9 gates, when we experience illumination, we experience happiness, we are able to see things in the right perspective, hear things in the right perspective, taste things in the right perspective. When we are speaking the only sattvic words, sattvic language, we are hearing sattvic sounds. When there is proper evacuation, person is cleansed inside and out, then that means a person is in the mood of goodness. There is happiness in all the 9 gates in the body. How do we understand I am conducted by Rajoguna? That Krishna explains in the next verse. Lobhav pravrittirarambhah karmanam ashamaspriha rajasyetani jayante vivriddhe bharatarshabha. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. So when there is great attachment, uncontrollable desire. So thus we can see in today's society, advancement means advancement in the mode of passion. People say that you never ever become satisfied in your life. You will not grow. Always increase your desire. Have bigger desire. So this is foolishness, actually. Bigger desire, what is that? You suppose you are traveling somewhere in a flight or train and they tell you this flight is going to crash. Shall we desire to now have anything very nice, name, fame, recognition in society, nice apartment for yourself? Or any achievement, will it hold any value? No, because you know, my plane is going to crash or the train is going to crash. A person will not aspire for any big, great achievement. So even though one is seeing my grandfather has died, I will die, my children also will die, but a person works very hard to have very big aspirations here. So now in this world we are living, it's just like traveling in a train which is going to crash. We are all going to die. But not understanding, realizing this fact, people work very hard. And if there is happiness, then that hard work is worth doing it. But then there is only hard work with little happiness. That Lord Krishna explains, we will see. So that is why a person is called half mad. These desires madden a person. So when there are very strong desires, strong hankering, then it is to be understood that a person is in the mode of passion. Aprakasho pravrittischa pramado moha evacha tamassetani jayante vivriddhe kuru nandana. O son of Kuru, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. So mode of ignorance means person will take to more hallucination, intoxicants. And when a person is intoxicated, then one cannot distinguish what is reality, what is illusion. Mother, sister, person fails to recognize, and so many heinous crimes happen in society. So a person becomes more and more mad and keeps on suffering. But under hallucination, person is not able to realize that I am suffering. There is misery now and misery in the future. In mode of passion, person gets immediate happiness. Long term is misery. In Sattva Guna, there is immediate distress but long-term happiness. But Tamo Guna is most dangerous. Current misery and future misery also. But a person is not able to realize because of madness. Yada sattve pravriddhe tu pralayam yati deha bhrit tadottama vidam lokan amalan pratipadyate. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets. Rajasi pralayam gatva karma sangishu jayate tatha pralinastamasi mudhayonishu jayate. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when he dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. So why it is very important to understand the influence of modes, because not just in this life, it is shaping our future, our destiny. There are various planets, various categories of life. It is described very nicely in the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam. There are various planetary systems. The entire universe is divided into 14 planetary systems. Bhur Bhuva Swaha. We are all aware of this term of the Gayatri Mantra. So these indicate the 3 planetary systems where the living entities are there who want to enjoy this material world. And beyond that, there are 4 more planetary systems if we go above. That is mainly for the people who have no sense of any material enjoyment. They just want to make their spiritual lives perfect. So those renunciants, brahmacharis, vanprasthas and sannyasis who are able to follow the vows of their order very nicely, they are promoted to these higher planetary systems, which are not destroyed at every night of Brahma. We saw previously how it was mentioned that Ratri Agame Avashah Partha Prabhavatyah Ragame. At the night of Brahma, the lower planetary systems are dissolved, and on the day of Brahma, again the creation happens and the living entities who want to enjoy, they are given bodies. But the top 4 planetary systems, they are not disturbed. So the entire material cosmos is designed just to fulfill our desires. So if you want to make spiritual advancement, this is proper facility. We are not destroyed even at the time of universal dissolution, every night of Brahma. And those planets are Maharlok, Janlok, Tapalok and Satyalok. And the comforts of life are much greater than those on these planets. There are so many mystic powers. Living entities can fly in the air, can take any form which is desired, and their bodies are very wonderfully operating, but they are not at all attracted by all these wonderful display of mystic performances. They are engaged in just making their spiritual lives perfect. So if a person is in Sattva-guna, one will elevate to higher standards. Just like now also we see those people who show goodness, good behavior and nice education, responsibility, they are given good position by the government. Similarly, those people who are in goodness, they will be made devatas in charge of the universal affairs. And when they show even greater goodness, then higher planets, Maharlok, Janalok, Tapalok, Satyalok, like that they are promoted. And if one doesn't show responsibility, then the comforts are taken away. Now a person can be responsible, one is devata, but then if a person does not advance further, one falls down. If a person does wrong activity, lusty, greedy activity, activities in mode of ignorance, one falls down to animal species of life. And if a person continues the mode of passion, one takes birth repeatedly on this earthly planet. In this way, our future is shaped as per the modes that we have. Karmana sukritasyahuhu satvikam nirmalam phalam rajasastu phalam dukkham ajnanam tamasa phalam. By acting in the mode of goodness, one becomes purified. Works done in the mode of passion result in distress, and actions performed in the mode of ignorance result in foolishness. Sattva sanjayate jnanam rajaso lobha evacha pramada moha tamaso bhavato jnanam evacha. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, grief develops. And from the mode of ignorance, foolishness, madness and illusion develop. So if you want to get real knowledge, everybody is having knowledge. The rabbit also has knowledge. Oh, the lion has vanished. But this is foolishness, this is illusion and madness. Lion has not vanished. That so-called vanishment of lion is closing of the eyes of rabbit. In a similar fashion, the problems of life are not solved by sleeping more or by intoxication. Neither by working hard the problems of life are solved, rather the problems increase. So very important. That is why we have to take shelter of Bhagavad Gita. This is real knowledge. We want to make solutions of problems of life by satisfying the desires of the senses, that is mode of passion. And by working in this manner, Krishna is telling, from the mode of passion, grief develops. So person will increase grief, misery in one's life if person works in mode of passion. Immediately there is, and we all understand, right? We have experience of this. For example, we had desire to eat very nice foodstuffs. So when we started eating food stuff, we started relishing, and then we developed diseases. And so many diseases we have because of this gluttony. Either you get colon cancer, or you get fatty liver, or diabetes, or so many problems. All the problems, most of the problems happen because of improper digestion. People do not know. And this modern medical science, although advanced, but they do not know the root cause of the diseases that Ayurveda very beautifully describes. We go to any Ayurvedic physician, they'll first of all check the condition of the stomach. Because what is this body? This body is nothing but the food that we eat. If you eat nice food in a right manner, proper manner, there is a good body. And if the food is not getting digested or getting transformed into toxins, then those toxins get circulated in the body. So that is why it is very, very important to control the senses nicely. When the senses are uncontrolled, mode of passion, we eat a lot, and then improper digestion, toxins, so many diseases in the body. Most of the diseases happen because of this thing, gluttony. So I wanted to enjoy. I tasted also immediately. I got nice satisfaction of tongue, but then diseases I got. Similarly, sexual satisfaction and syphilis and so many other diseases, especially in the Western countries, they get affected a lot. HIV and so many things happen. Why? Because of unrestricted sexual satisfaction. So immediately, definitely there is a lot of pleasure, but there is disease, and in society there is disturbance. How presidents of the countries, they have faced so much embarrassment. How the greatest of the sportsmen and celebrities, they have faced embarrassment in their life because of this sexual enjoyment. So immediately there was pleasure in the illicit sexual relationship, but in long term it gave misery. So this mode of passion always produces misery. So if we want happiness in our life, actually we have to move to mode of goodness. We have real knowledge. When we act according to real knowledge, there is happiness. So very important knowledge. Next, Lord Krishna explains, Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha madhye tishtanti rajasah jaganya gunavrittistha adho gachanti tamasah. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of ignorance go down to hellish worlds. So there are different planetary systems. Lower planetary systems are meant for people in ignorance, middle planetary systems for passion, higher planetary systems for goodness. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drishthanupashyati gunebhyascha param veti madbhavam sodhigacchati. When you see that there is nothing beyond these modes of nature in all the activities, and that the Supreme Lord is transcendental to all these modes, then you can know my spiritual nature. So we want to do research here in this material world, and we want to find God. But Krishna is telling here, Gunebhya cha param veti. Param means transcendental, veti means know. When you know that God is beyond these material nature, God's body is Satchidananda, made of spiritual nature, spiritual energy. So here in this material world, just like frog in the well, frog wants to find other animals within the well. How he'll find other animals? He may find some small animals, other species. But there are many, many species. Only when the frog is out of the well, one can realize there is very big, huge Atlantic Ocean. In a similar fashion, we are frogs in the well living on this planet with the help of Vedic literatures. Now one may wonder, oh, is it a fact There is a world Tripad Vibhuti which consists of 75% of existence, where there is no birth, death, old age, disease. So one has to understand very scientifically, very logically. One needs to have a deep reading of the Vedas, then we will be able to understand very logically how all these things are fact. And if we chant Hare Krishna mantra with attention and by following the rules and regulations, then all this knowledge will be revealed more easily from within the heart. So very good offenseless chanting, attentive chanting, coupled with reading of Bhagavad Gita under proper guidance of spiritual master, we can realize all these things are factual knowledge. So Supreme Lord is not belonging to material nature, thus we may keep on doing research in this material energy, we will never find Supreme Lord. Only when we know Supreme Lord is transcendental, we will understand him. Gunanetanatītyatrin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkhair vimukto amritamashnute. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes, he can become free from birth, death, old age and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. So repeatedly Lord Krishna is telling human life is meant to become free. First of all, become immortal. Whatever you attain here, it will all be lost. You are investing so much time, energy to get some position in the society that will be lost. You are trying to love your family members, people around you. That connection will be lost. We will never be able to meet ever again. Is this thing very pleasant way of living? No. So that is why one should first of all try to rise to the platform of immortality. And that is being explained here. If we are able to transcend these three modes, go beyond the clutches of these three modes of nature, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna, then one can become free from birth, death, old age and disease. Oh, who has seen that? This is post-dated check. Has anybody returned from the other world and explained? Yes, people have returned and explained. Just like people have gone to the moon. I may not believe, you may not believe. So many people in Russia, they do not believe that US has gone to the moon. Even now, at least 50% of the people do not believe. And some time ago, 70-80% were not believing that Americans have gone to the moon or other planet. So we are not discussing whether they have gone or not. Time will reveal. But if somebody goes to any place, either space station or we even do not know where is space station, is it fact or not? But somebody has gone and they have come back. They are very less in number. But we understand from the people of knowledge. They have come back, they have revealed, and those people who have heard, they have explained the knowledge to others. If you approach them, they can give you all the proofs and verification. In a similar fashion, people have come from that world, that is called avatar. Lord Krishna comes from that world, and his confidential servants, they also come from that world. And they come here as spiritual masters and they spread this knowledge. So yes, people have come back from the world of immortality. And just like we approach some astronauts, they give you this description of the space from where they have come back. These people, they give us description of the spiritual world also. We have to be sincere. If we are sincere, we will be guided to such people. The descriptions are there in the Vedic literatures. So one has to become free from birth, death, old age and disease. But this is not a post-dated check. Lord Krishna is telling, Amritam Ashnute, a person can enjoy nectar even in this life. Even now we will experience liberation living within the body. The example given in Vedas is just like the coconut separates itself when it is ripened from its shell. Although it is within the shell, but it is detached from the shell. It can see itself. Earlier it is sticking to the shell. It looks like one unit. But when it is ripened, it is dried up, it is separated from the shell. And when you break it, you can take it out. In a similar fashion, when the spiritual knowledge increases in the body, the soul gets matured, it gets established in its spiritual identity different from the body. Although this body will continue as it is destined for some time, but the soul can understand, I am different from this body. Just like the coconut fruit is separated from its shell. So long the body is destined to continue, it will continue, but it will not be affected by the distresses or happiness imparted to the body. It will always remain within the body, unconcerned with what is happening on physical or mental level. It will be different. So even now, Ashnute, that nectar can be experienced, that liberation can be experienced. The forces of nature are not affecting, person is always in spiritual bliss. So it's not a post-dated check. We have to just be very, very sincere in our attempts to transcend these three modes of nature. So now Arjuna asks very nice question. So Krishna, now please explain, how do we transcend these three modes? And how do we find out a person who has transcended these three modes? Has anybody done that? Then we get faith that yes, I also can do. So what are the symptoms? How do we do it? That Arjuna is asking now, and Krishna will reply. Arjuna uvacha kairlinga strin gunanetan atito bhavati prabho kim achara katham chaitans strin gunan ativartate. Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by what symptoms is one known who is transcendental to those modes? What is his behavior, and how does he transcend the modes of nature? Shri Bhagavan Vacha Prakasham cha pravrittim cha Moham eva cha Pandava Nadveshti sampravrittani na nivrittani kankshati Udasina vadasino gunayo na vichalyate Gunavartanta ityevam yovatisthati nengate Samadukha sukha swastha samaloštashma kanchanaha Tulya priya priyo dhiras Tulya nindatma sanstutihi Manapamanayos tulyas Tulyo mitrari pakshayo Sarvarambha parityagi Gunatitassa uchyate. The blessed Lord said, He who does not hate illumination, attachment and delusion when they are present, nor longs for them when they disappear, who is seated like one unconcerned, being situated beyond these material reactions of the modes of nature, who remains firm, knowing that the modes alone are active, who regards alike pleasure and pain, and looks on a clod, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is wise and holds praise and blame to be the same, who is unchanged in honor and dishonor, who treats friend and foe alike, who has abandoned all fruitive undertakings, such a man is said to have transcended the modes of nature. So, a very important understanding. How do we understand that a person has transcended these modes, Sattva-guna, Rajaguna and Tamaguna? So first understanding is he does not hate illumination, attachment and delusion when they are present. Illumination means Sattva-guna. Sometimes we have illumination, we are able to understand, oh, this is fact. But other times that fact is fading away from our memory because of strong attachments. We feel attachment to sense objects, to watching something, eating something, or XYZ. And other times there is delusion. So when attachment, illumination or delusion are present, a person does not hate. And when they are not there, a person does not long for them. A person is situated unconcerned, knowing these modes are there in the body. As long as I'm there in this body, the modes will affect the body. Sometimes the body will experience attachment, and sometimes one has to sleep, mood of ignorance will be heavy, and other times knowledge will be there. So a person does not lament that now I'm going to fall asleep. A person does not get affected, oh, this sense object is attracting me so much. How does it happen? Because of Krishna consciousness. When a person is in Krishna consciousness, he can use all these things in the service of Krishna. So when a person is getting affected by the mode of ignorance, it is heavy, one feels sleepy. So one takes rest so that body can be rejuvenated again in the service of Krishna. So in this way, the sleep also becomes devotional service to Krishna. That is also for spiritual advancement. And when a person is sleeping, when because of wakefulness, he was thoroughly engaged in the activities in the service of Krishna, in sleep also one only thinks of devotional service. That is unaffected by the nature of the body. The body is in tamas, but the person is not. In sleep also a person is continuing, because entire day one was engaged in thoughts of Krishna, serving Krishna, chanting the names of Krishna. So in dream also person continues to chant. It happens, right? If any activity we became very much engrossed during the daytime, it continues many times even in sleep. In a similar fashion, devotional service also continues in sleep. So the soul is engaged in devotional service, the body might be resting. So the person is not in ignorance, even though the body externally is appearing in the mode of ignorance. So in this way, a person is unaffected. Let the body take rest, but I am not in ignorance. I am still in goodness, pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva-guna. And when sometimes there is attachment, because we are there in this body, the body will have certain attachment. There would be few items, food items which are favorable. Those in the mode of goodness, they eat nice vegetables and sweet meats and other things. But still, if something is not offered to Krishna, devotee will not feel any attraction towards those things, although they are favorable for the body. Because a person is very committed, unless something is offered to Krishna, I will not taste that thing. So even though those things might be pleasant for the body, there could be attachment for those things, but a person is unaffected because of this strong vow of satisfying the tongue only by Krishna Prasadam, the foodstuffs which are offered to Krishna. In this way, the attachment for certain things does not affect a person. One might have attachment for a very peaceful, just like Sattvic people, they might have attachment for living in a hut, and that is very congenial for one's spiritual life. But for preaching purpose, sometimes the preacher, the devotee has to live in city. The city life in houses which are made of granite, marble, bricks and cement, they increase Rajoguna within the body. The cities increase mode of passion within the body. But for the service of Krishna, devotee comes here, lives in the houses which are made of predominantly in the mode of passion, but a devotee is unaffected because he is always engaged in service of Krishna. Again, one is always thinking of Krishna. So if one is thinking of Krishna, either living in cities or while sleeping, one is always transcendental. One is not affected by the grief, by the anxiety created by the mode of passion. One is not affected by the madness created by the mode of ignorance. One is not conditioned by the happiness which stops a living entity to inquire further, advance further into spiritual life. So this is possible only by Krishna consciousness. So thus for a devotee there is no need to stop sleep, because when one sleeps in dream also, obviously, yes, it is a fact, one should try to minimize these needs. And as we increase our devotional service to Krishna, these necessities of the body will be minimized. But a person is not getting affected by the state of the affairs of the body. Because a person in any state of affairs, a proper devotee under the guidance of spiritual master learns the art of how to always remain in Krishna consciousness and thus always experience the same spiritual bliss, either in hard work, which externally is a task of mode of passion, or one is sleeping, which is the influence of mode of ignorance, or while one is cultivating knowledge. A devotee is always enjoying the bliss of Krishna consciousness. Who is seated like one unconcerned, being situated beyond these material reactions of the modes of nature, who remains firm knowing that the modes alone are active, who regards alike pleasure and pain, looks on a clod, a stone and a piece of gold with an equal eye. So everything in this material world has no value for a devotee, either gold or stone or anything else, because one is satisfied simply by serving Krishna. This science is not known to people. Possessing gold does not make one happy. Otherwise, the owner of mines would have been the happiest people, or the jeweler would have been the happiest person. No, it is not. But owning Krishna within the heart makes a person actually very happy. It is the Krishna consciousness. Uninterrupted absorption in the service of Krishna, always thinking of Krishna, is what makes a person, a devotee, happy. This science, this art is not known to the people. How to capture Krishna within the heart? By sincere service of the lotus feet of Krishna. So because a devotee is completely satisfied, he is on the stage of perfection, he does not have least bit attraction for anything else. Just like we have discussed many times, when we have eaten sumptuously, then we don't feel any need to anything whatsoever, how much ever delicious it could be. So devotee feels nothing lacking in his life. So stone or a piece of silver or gold, it does not matter. It is all the same for devotee. Similarly, pleasure and pain, it does not matter. On body, physical platform, sometimes it will be pleasant. So it is all right. If the health is good, we are having good conditions, devotee very nicely, energetically engages in service of Krishna. Sometimes there is physical trouble. The preacher of Krishna consciousness, God consciousness, they have to meet trouble at times. Haridas Thakur was beaten in 22 markets. Various devotees have met with persecutions. Jesus Christ was also beaten, whipped. But they were not disturbed. As we have discussed, just like the mother lifts the child on the lap, there is definitely pain in the arms, but this pain is unnoticed because there is so much of pleasure in the heart. Similarly, pleasure or pain, it's all the same because devotee knows the art of using both in the service of Krishna. Is this consciousness not amazing? It does not matter. Now the whole world is trying to increase the pleasure. Now to increase that pleasure, they come in mode of passion, and the result is long-term grief and misery. Or they want to mitigate the pain. They are working very hard for it. And this hard work again induces pain in the life. Or when they are baffled, they simply take to intoxication, sleeping. They want to forget the misery. But this mode of living, transcendental living, not so nice, that pleasure or pain, a person is always situated in transcendental bliss. There is no need to reduce pain because the pain is the source of your pleasure. And there is no need to increase so-called pleasure because anyway, your source of pleasure is not the material pleasure, but Krishna consciousness, which can be continued in pleasure or in pain. So that is why a devotee is always peaceful and always blissful. So looks on pleasure and pain alike. Looks on clod, piece of gold stone alike. Friend and enemy both are same. The enemy, what does it do? Enemy, it takes away our assets. So when the devotee's assets are taken away, enemy plunders the riches and puts you in captivity. The devotee realizes, oh, this material world is temporary. Everything is can be taken away any time. So he thanks enemy for advancing in Krishna consciousness. And what is a friend? Friend helps you. But actually friends also can become enemy. Sometimes we see that when people follow Krishna consciousness very nicely, the family members get perturbed and they stop their relatives. They are afraid they may not become renunciants, they may not leave us, and thus they stop their spiritual advancement. And because of this, they are putting their family members into repeated disease, repeated death, repeated old age. Thus the family members actually become enemies. So thus on Krishna consciousness platform, the friend can act like enemy if he is engaging you in sense enjoyment. And the enemy also can act in a friendly manner by making you realize the ephemeral nature of this material world. So friend or enemy, both are same for a devotee. Devotee can advance in Krishna consciousness in the presence of enemy or friend. There is no distinction. So this is the great boon of Krishna consciousness. This is called liberation. Liberation means you are not affected. Either somebody is friend, a person feels very delighted seeing him, or there is enemy, person feels distressed. Devotee is not at all distressed seeing the enemy, does not feel any special delight on seeing the friends also. Devotee sees everyone as part and parcel of Krishna and acting helplessly under the modes of nature. Somebody is behaving as friend, causing harm to me, that harm is coming to me because of my karma. What is the need of getting angry with the enemy? Of course, it does not mean you tell enemy, come and kill me. This body also belongs to Krishna. As a matter of duty, we protect ourselves, but we are not disturbed. Somebody shouts on us, we are not disturbed on them. Why this person? We understand they are helpless, helplessly under control of three modes of nature, just like the puppeteer. The puppet is dancing by the strings. In a similar fashion, people are dancing under the control of material nature. By the strings of Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, they are helpless. Actually, living entity is not doing anything. Only the modes are active. This is what a person has to see. If we get body of a dog, we are bound to act like a dog. We could have acted as a king in previous life, but this body forces me to go and find the food which is suitable for dog's body, to live in the dog's fashion, to have a dog's abode. In this way, we are forced. So everyone is forced to act in certain way. Happiness and distress is happening because of my karma. So devotee does not harbor unnecessary ill feelings towards anybody. He is always equipoised for everyone. Pandita Samadarshina has an equal vision. Everybody is spirit soul, helplessly acting under the modes of nature. If somebody is acting in a friendly manner to me, he is also helplessly acting in a friendly manner. Somebody is acting as enemy, helplessly acting as enemy. So a devotee does not praise anybody for good quality, does not criticize anybody for bad quality. Devotee knows only the modes are active. Who has abandoned all fruitive undertakings. So here everybody works hard because they have some fruitive undertaking. They want to enjoy the results of their activity. Devotee knows the result of activity does not make me happy, but the activity done for Krishna and the result offered to Krishna makes me happy. So he does not work hard to enjoy the result of activity. He works hard only to serve Krishna, make Krishna happy. The results, if it comes, it will be offered to Krishna. It doesn't come, okay, less or nothing will be offered to Krishna. I am acting just for the satisfaction of Krishna. This is called liberation. Nothing disturbs a devotee. So by this we can understand that the person is transcendental now to the three modes of nature. So that Krishna explicitly explains, which we just discussed. So sometimes Prabhupada will explain in translation or purport few things which may not be exactly mentioned in the verse. Why? Because the acharyas have complete knowledge. So you must be wondering, so this is your extrapolation that we have to serve God, then this consciousness will be achieved. Is it not possible to achieve this in some other manner? So yes, because we have read Bhagavad Gita, we know it is possible only in this manner, and this Krishna explains now in this verse. So Krishna explained the situation. How this situation is possible, that is explained here. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunansam tityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahma. So here Krishna is explained. Avyabhicharena does not fall down, unalloyed, unbreakable devotional service. Bhakti yogena sevate, especially it is mentioned not Gyan yoga. By Gyan yoga you cannot come to this transcendental position. Gunan etan atityatrin, you can be established in top platform of Sattva Guna. But if you want to transcend, it will not be possible by other things. By Gyan Yoga, one can elevate oneself to transcendental platform for some time, but one will not be able to stay on that platform. It is mentioned in Bhagavatam, Aruya krichena param patam patanti adha. Just like if you go to space, but we don't have a shelter on any planet, we have to come back. Similarly, we have risen ourselves by lot of hardships, tapasya, to spiritual platform, but unless we take shelter on any spiritual planet, unless we have relation, we want to engage in service of Krishna, we will not be entering on spiritual planets. One will fall down to material platform. One needs to be active on the spiritual platform. When there is activity, person will stay, otherwise one will come down to material platform. So actual liberation, permanent liberation from three modes is possible, as Krishna has mentioned here, only by Bhakti Yogena Sevate. Bhakti Yoga is the topmost yoga. And it should be Avyabhicharena, unalloyed devotional, unbreakable devotional service. So devotional service is conducted under the influence of the spiritual energy. The material energy functions only to take us away from Krishna, to put us into more and more forgetfulness of Krishna, absolute truth. So when God notices that this living entity wants to serve me, then we are surcharged with spiritual energy. So when we are engaging ourselves in the service of Krishna, this is not that of three modes of nature, because material energy will never engage living entity in the service of Krishna. Because the living entity is desired not to serve Krishna, but they want to become Krishna, want to become God, then the facility is created by material nature. That you please make the living entity forgetful and make him God, make him Brahma, who is as powerful as Krishna, and he can create his universe and control the living entities, manufacture their destiny and their bodies. In this way, enjoy the opulence which he wants. But if you want to serve Krishna, material energy does not allow that. Then service of Krishna is conducted under the influence of spiritual energy. And if we continuously engage in the service of Krishna, then gradually our mind and body become spiritualized. Although it is made of material energy, this body, but just like the iron rod, if put in fire for a long time, becomes fire-like. It starts emitting heat and light, will burn if we touch it. It no longer is iron. In a similar fashion, this body becomes completely spiritualized by constantly keeping in touch with Krishna. And that is called Jivan Mukta stage, even though the soul is within the body, but one is completely liberated, unaffected by the laws of the nature. So thus there is no doubt Bhakti Yoga is the topmost yoga system. Avyabhicharana, but not that sometimes Bhakti Yoga, sometimes material service, sense enjoyment. We have to understand that this knowledge is so important. So now we can very clearly analyze in which mode I am acting. I was thinking passion will make me happy, but passion is the result of all grief that I have in my life. Intoxication anyway is no solution, sleeping is no solution, escapism. Sattva Guna advancement in knowledge puts me in hallucination that I am knowledgeable now, I am anyway happy now. In this way the living entity is conditioned. Either one is happy, or if one is unhappy, one is working very hard to become happy, mode of passion, or one is frustrated and sleeping or intoxicated. So the living entity gets stuck in these three states, hopping from one state to another. Only when engaged in devotional service, one transcends. So how do we engage in devotional service? There are 9 processes. One may ask that how to do Seva 24 hours. That is why so many beautiful ways have been given in the scriptures. This is called Navada Bhakti. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. Shravanam Kirtanam, it begins with hearing. Hearing should always be done. Although there are 9 processes, other 8 processes, their perfection depends upon hearing. If sufficient hearing is not there, other processes become material activity. So one has to hear always and very nicely, just like now we are hearing. I am also hearing what I am talking, you are also listening. So from here the devotional service starts, and when we have heard sufficiently, we can start speaking. So then we start chanting the names of God, we start describing the signs of God, the pastimes and qualities of God. That is called Kirtanam. That is second way. So this is very easy throughout the day. Either we can keep on hearing or we can keep on chanting the names of God, describe about God, Shravanam Kirtanam. So when it is not possible to chant and hear, then there is third stage, which is called Smaranam. Then we can think of God. Either we can think of form of God, beautiful form we have in the temple. We have the description, authorized description in the Vedas. Or we can think of the discussion we have had of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, the science of God. We can recollect the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. We can recollect the purports, the meanings. That is called Smaranam. And Archanam, we can worship the deity in the temple. Vandanam, we can offer prayers. In this way, in so many ways, person can be engaged throughout the day. So it is possible. And in wakefulness, if we engage ourselves nicely, in sleep also, our engagement in service of Krishna will continue. In this way, 24 hours, every moment, when the life is saturated with service of Krishna, then there is self-realization. One understands that I am different from the body. Automatically jnana comes. There is no need to, just like people think, if we don't use discretion, we cannot come to platform of knowledge. No, Simply by engagement, of course, as far as possible, we should try to understand, otherwise, we will leave devotional service. But if a person has strong faith, there is no need to understand. Simply by chanting, hearing, thinking of Krishna, one can get all knowledge. But now we are very much engulfed in ignorance because we are away from this Vedic knowledge. Sometimes we may doubt it is fact or not, will it take me somewhere or not, we may leave devotional service. That is why we should try to hear, we should try to read very deeply, very scrutinizingly. But if a person has complete faith in chanting, hearing will make, smaranam, thinking will make one's life perfect. But in Kali Yuga especially, this chanting and hearing is stressed. It is most important. Then Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, other processes will be successful. So here Krishna has mentioned, Bhakti Yogena Sevate. Etavan eva lokesmin punsam dharma parasmritaha bhakti yogo bhagavati tannam grahanadibhi. It is mentioned in the 6th canto of Bhagavatam that so many dharmas, duties we have. The topmost duty is Bhakti Yoga. All duties are meant to elevate a person to this Bhakti Yoga, because unless a person comes to this platform, so-called duties of family and society will neither satisfy the one who is doing duty, nor the object of duty or service will be satisfied. But if one comes to Bhakti Yoga, one will be satisfied, and if one engages others in Bhakti Yoga, they will also be satisfied. So this is called the topmost duty. Punsam dharma paraha smritaha. Paraha dharma. The topmost dharma is Bhakti Yogo Bhagavati. Engaging in Bhakti Yoga of whom? Not of any other demigods or goddesses, other Devi or Devta, but of the topmost personality, Supreme God. And how does this Bhakti Yoga begin? Tan Naam Grahanadibhi, Naam Grahan, by chanting his names. Just chanting the names of the God is glorified everywhere in all the scriptures. So we can take advantage, keep on chanting as much as possible, and begin this beautiful Bhakti Yoga. Then Krishna mentions, Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahm, which is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness and which is immortal, imperishable and eternal. So, when we engage in devotional service of Krishna Bhakti Yoga, then Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, the living entity rises to the level of Brahm, to the level of spiritual energy. And this spiritual energy, Krishna is telling, it is coming from me. Brahmano hi pratishtaham, the Brahma Jyoti is situated on me, on my personality. Just like the sunlight is not independent, but it is situated on sun planet. Sun is the foundation of the sunlight. In a similar fashion, that Brahma Jyoti, spiritual platform on which you will rise by following all these rules and regulations, that spiritual energy, I am the source of. It is situated on me. And it is this platform which is the platform of immortality, shashvatasya cha dharmasya, sukhasya ekantikasya cha, and of ultimate happiness. So we are all hankering for that everlasting and unlimited happiness which never finishes. But we are looking it on a wrong platform, in Ekapad Vibhuti, which is this material world. We are spiritual beings, it is a great science. Just like the fish out of water can never be happy. Simply put the fish in water and it is blissful. Similarly, we have to simply enter again into Tripada Vibhuti, again rise to the Brahma platform, spiritual energy. That is what Lord Krishna is explaining here. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. One rises to the Brahma platform, Shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha, that ekantika sukha, ultimate bliss, it is possible on Brahma platform. So by constant engagement in devotional service, one should rise oneself to Brahma spiritual platform. In this life one is happy, and once we leave the body, there is no more birth, death, old age and disease. So I request, please always keep on chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, deep reading of Bhagavad Gita and hearing coupled with Hare Krishna mantra will enlighten us how to further engage ourselves in devotional service of Krishna. And then, if we do this very nicely under guidance of spiritual master, we will elevate ourselves to this Brahma platform even while we are there within this body. And we'll experience bliss, never-ending bliss at every moment. So that was all with this very important chapter. So I request, please keep on chanting always. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We'll meet very soon and discuss chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person. Hare Krishna.